Following through is about to become so easy for you that you are going to make rapid progress towards your goals. So if you stick with me for just a few minutes, I'm going to teach you how to become the kind of person who always does what you say you're going to do. If you're watching this video, you're probably a really hard worker. Like, you've got goals, you know what you want, but the reason that you don't always follow through on them is just because you haven't learned the 3 phases of motivation. And I'm going to show you exactly what they are and then how to get to the right phase of motivation so you actually follow through on what you say you're going to do every single time. So I want you to think right now about something that you want to follow through on, something that really matters to you, that by the end of this video, you are going to have massive motivation to follow through with straight away. So the first phase of motivation is resistance. This is where your brain says something like, I don't want to, so I won't. And you end up doing something else. You get distracted and you don't follow through on the thing that you wanted to do. And I want you to imagine this phase of resistance kind of like a wall. So you're going along and you were gonna follow through, you had plans to follow through, and then you meet the wall and now suddenly it feels like this huge obstacle in front of you and you really can't overcome it. And so you just decide to go off and do something else. That is the first phase, resistance. The second phase is willpower. And that is where your brain says to you something along the lines of, I don't want to, but I will. This is where you see the wall and you think, you know what? I'm going to climb it. I'm going to go over that. And you feel this huge need to overcome it. This is how most of us take action. We don't want to do something, but we do it anyway. The resistance is still there, but now you're just making yourself climb that wall and get to the other side to follow through. That's how most people live their lives. They don't want to do stuff, but they get themselves to do it anyway. And the problem with this and why you don't always follow through is because that actually requires so much energy. If you think about it, maybe in the beginning of your day, you can get yourself to overcome that huge wall of resistance. But by the end of the day, you're like, oh, I have no more energy to do this. And so you don't. And you end up caving and eating the cookie or not posting on Instagram or whatever the thing is that you wanted to follow through on. So that's how most of us manage it. We just oscillate between phase 1 and phase 2 of experiencing resistance and then not doing it, or experiencing resistance and then doing it anyway, making ourselves, forcing ourselves to take action. But that's really not an effective method of always following through. The people who always follow through, who always do what they say they're gonna do, they have a third phase. They move from phase 1 to phase 3. And phase 3 is desire. This is where your brain says, I want to, so I will. So you've actually eliminated the resistance. Now following through feels effortless because you actually want to do it. You want to do the thing. Instead of resisting it and making yourself do it, you've moved into a state of wanting to do that thing. So now it's really easy and fun. It's like if you want to watch Netflix, you don't feel like it's a chore, like you have to make yourself watch Netflix. There's no resistance there. You want to do it. And so you have to learn how to turn your resistance into desire and actually eliminate that resistance and melt it away so it's something that you want to do. So you might be thinking, okay, cool, but I don't want to. So how do you get yourself to do something you don't want to do? You have to listen closely because I'm going to tell you something that could seriously change your life. Are you ready? Stop telling yourself you don't want to do it. Seriously, this idea that you keep telling yourself over and over that you don't want to do something, that is what is causing you the trouble. So the first time that your brain brings you the thought, I don't want to, we can blame that on the brain. The brain is always going to tell you the stuff like, I don't want to. But the second time, the third time, the 57th time that you're telling yourself, I don't want to do it, that is on you. Now you are perpetuating that. Now you are making yourself not want to do it because you keep thinking that over and over. You can't always choose your first thought, but you can choose your second thought. So you've got to stop defending your resistance and start actually shifting into a new way of thinking. The resistance only exists because your brain keeps coming up with reasons to support the resistance. So you have to generate new reasons for why you actually want to. I want you to just take that thought right now. I want to do this thing. And ask yourself, why is that true? So let's take an example. Let's say that you are gonna send a sales email and you've been resisting it and you've been telling yourself, I really don't want to. And you've come up with all of the reasons, or your brain is generating all of these reasons why you don't want to. You've got to shift that and start looking for reasons why you do want to send this sales email. Why is it gonna be great to send this sales email? Why do you want to? Because it's actually really easy, because you love writing, because you might make a sale, because they want to hear from you, because you could help someone, because it doesn't need to be perfect, because it can be quick. Come up with reasons why, and then suddenly that thought, I want to, feels a lot more real, because ultimately beliefs are just thoughts that you've got evidence for. That's it. So your brain has built a whole bunch of evidence for the thought that you don't want to, and you just have to shift into creating evidence for the thought that you do want to. So we're not going to gaslight yourself into it like I want to when you really don't. That's actually more what's happening in phase 2, where you are using willpower, where you're telling yourself, I don't want to, but I'm going to do it. This is going to be fun. Like you make yourself when you know that that's not true. You have to instead swap yourself into actually wanting to do it by finding the real reasons. Why do you want to do it? Make a list right now. What are all the reasons why you want to do the thing that you've been putting off? And it's super important that this list is not a list of reasons why you don't want to do it, but you're gonna do it, because that's just using willpower. We really want to make a list of reasons why you genuinely, truly want this thing. Some of those things might be things that are outcomes, the reason why you want it once it's done, but it's also really helpful to include things why you want to do the process. Like, why is the actual process of doing this task something you want to do? All right, I hope that this video has helped you melt away the resistance and start taking action on anything that you want to take action on. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments what the thing is that you're gonna do and why you want to do it. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because I'm gonna be making more videos just like this, and I will talk to you in the next one.